Hello everyone, we're learning Tanya, chapter 5, Epistle 5, Igeres Hakodesh, for the 14th day of Adar. We don't say Tahon tonight.
That's right.
Right?
The Yontif guys.
Yom Tov is coming. The 15th of Av is a very happy day in the Jewish calendar for many reasons, but one of the biggest, I would say the main reason is that those who were decreed to die in the desert, since the sin of the spy, where God decreed that 600,000 would stay in the desert, every Tisha B'Av they would create a massive grave. What do you call those graves that are a lot of people are in one grave?
Mass grave.
Yes, they would create a mass grave, and people would go down, and every year 15,000 would not come out of the grave. But on the last year, on the 40th year of them about to enter the land, the 15,000 went down, the last 15,000, and they woke up in the morning. So they thought maybe they miscalculated the calendar. They went another day, and another day, and another day. Every single night they kept on waking up. The last, on the 15th, they already saw full moon. They knew that they're not...
At 5 o'clock this morning, the Kiddush Levana.
There you go. So they knew that there was no... a God has forgiven them. And that's why the 15th of Av, it's a very... great Yom Tov. It says that there was no days of happiness and joy, no good days to Am Yisrael like the 15th of Av. So hopefully it will be an intense joy, and the joy should continue throughout the year. So the Tanya of today, in today's lesson, the physical world originates in the letter Hey. Letter Hey of God's name. Hey is pure breath. Hey. We mentioned yesterday that we have 5 ways of articulation, 5 organs that we use for articulation. But the Hey does not need not the tongue, not the teeth, not the palate, not the throat. It just comes from the lungs. Yeah, Hey. It's the Zohar calls the letter Hey also Kelil, a very light letter, lightweight letter. So Hey is pure breath, representing the substance of the letter versus its form, manifesting as matter, not spirit. Its shape Hey represents expansion of godliness in all directions. Expansion of godliness in all directions. You look at the shape of the letter Hey also, that has think of a letter Hey as you writing it, as you're trying to form it. So you would start with a little Yud, right?
Right.
So they call it expansion because you expanding the line to the left and expanding the line in the bottom and then putting another line. So the expansion. Its shape represents expansion of godliness in all directions. Until this point, the Alter Rebbe has explained the Talmudic teaching that the world to come was created by the letter Yud, the Sephirah of Chochmah, which the letter Yud represents wisdom, and the spiritual source of Gan Eden. And Chochmah is connected with the spiritual source of Gan Eden, which is in the world to come. However, according to the above, since the letters of the supernal creative speech derive from Chochmah, it would seem that this world, which was created by the letters of divine speech, was likewise created from the letter Yud that represents Chochmah. Why then our sages teach that only the world to come was created from the letter Yud from Chochmah, while this world was created from the letter Hey? However, the letters exist on planes of matter and form, which are also referred to as internal aspect and their external aspect. The internal aspect is the form, and the external aspect is the matter, their body. Although the source is the primordial stage of the intellect and the will of the soul, for as soon as the soul desires to speak these letters are formed. As soon as the soul desires to speak, these letters are formed, as explained above. This is but the form of the differentiation in the pronunciation of the 22 letters. The matter and body of their formation, however, the aspect of their externality is the breath issuing from the heart. From this breath is formed a simple sound which proceeds from the throat, and which is then divided into 22 kinds of enunciation and expression of the 22 letters. Aleph, Ches, Hey, Ein, Ma'agorin. These divisions taking place through the 5 known organs of speech, Aleph, Ches, and Hey, and Ein through the throat. So really what the Alter Rebbe just told us, that you have Koil Poshut, there is sound, as the sound descending in your esophagus or your air pipe. It only when it's ready to come up, then there's the differentiation of the pronunciation. Meaning it kind of gets it's imagine, think of a flow that comes down, like let's say a water flow that comes down. At a certain point, there is a canals that are channeling it in different ways. So he says the voice is similar to it because it has a simple sound. Then somewhat we use the word, we are alternating it, or we are now changing the sound to be Aleph, to be Ches, to be Hey, Ein, whatever it is that we try to say. But it starts from a Kol Poshut, from a simple sound. You still have to exhale air every time you speak, right? Air comes out. Maybe that's why the mask advocates are into masks, because it kind of blocks your breath from coming out.
Yeah.
So going to page 72, Gimel Yud Chaf Kuf Me'acher, the letter Gimel, the letter Yud, the letter Kaf or Chaf through the palate, and so on. Beis, Vav, Mem, and Pei from the lips, and so on. Umiv Ta'evel U'eis Hey, also clearly here what I mentioned before about the letter Hey to be a light letter. He writes, while the breath itself, which has its own sound, independent of the letter being spoken, is uttered by the letter Hey, the light letter, inasmuch as it lacks the substance of a complete letter. Which is the source of the matter and body of the letters before their divisions into 22. The Hey is thus the source of each letters. The Hey is the body of each letter. That's what he's telling us. So in essence, every letter has an Hey in it, because the breath is there. And that's why the rabbis of blessed memory have said that this world was created with the letter Hey. Because really the 22 letters are have the letter Hey in it. I saw, look at Koheles, the exili. What's the English word for Koheles? Ecclesiastes. So, yeah, Proverbs and
Ecclesiastes. I don't know why they came up with that name.
I don't know either, but so how does it start? Hevel havolim omar keres hakol hevel. So he says the word hevel there many times, and he says what is hevel? Hevel means vanity, but also means breath.
Right.
So he says akol hevel, everything is vanity.
Right.
But there's also interpretation that everything in the world is breath. Because the world was created with the letter Hey.
Right.
Right? It's Hashem. How did Hashem create the world? Hu Omar Vayeh. He said, and it came into being. So he said, saying his words, right? And what is the words? Every word has a Hey in it. So the world was created with the letter Hey. Shlomo Melech is telling us in Koheles, Akol Hevel. Everything is Hevel. Everything is the breath. You can say everything is the vanity, but also everything is was created from breath. So it was created by the external aspect or body of the supernal letters, whose source is the Hey of the divine name. So we said the Hey is only the external part of the letter, the body of it, right? Because you have to provide. It's like the fuel and the fire that ignites the engine, right? So you have the fuel is the Hey, right? Then you have the fire, the actual letter, but every letter would have the Hey in it. So the takeaway from today's Tanya: words are complex. They are made up of external sounds, but they are rooted in the soul. Divine letters also contain this complexity. They are defined energies to create the world, but they contain in them the essence of the divine. They are defined energies to create the world, but they contain in them the essence of the divine. Baruch to you.